So I literally got 4 questions right after I posted the last video, which was, 20 minutes ago, about obesity in the United States. We are one of the most obese nations in the country. We eat too much fast food, drink too much soda, eat too much potato chips, and generally just eat too much junk. Doesn't matter what we do, we just tend to do it. We need to get healthier, and then we will live longer. Our life expectancy for the next generation is gone down for the first time ever in our country's history. Our medical advances are not going to keep up with our unhealthy lifestyles. So you can be body positive as you want. You can weigh 300 pounds and say, hey, I'm happy with myself. That's cool. You can do that. You're going to die at 50. You're going to die at 55. You're not going to hit the 70s, the 80s. And if you do, you're going to be extremely unhealthy and stuck in a Mark cart or something like that. So please make a conscious decision, make better choices, and you'll live longer and more fruitful life.
When we expanded the heavy marketing of industrial processed food to these communities, it's a sense of food injustice or food racism, or I don't know what the right term is. The food industry has literally targeted these communities specifically to increase their consumption of these foods, and has focused on, for example, African-American Hispanic communities, and the kids see way more ads for fast food, way more ads for junk food. If we're exposed to it, they're more likely to consume these foods in larger amounts. I mean, you see little kids at 2, 3, 4 years old with type 2 diabetes. When you eat these foods, your brain isn't functioning. It's not developing. When you're obese, your life expectancy as a kid, if you're obese as a kid, it goes down 13 years. You're less likely to have a successful job and be economically viable. So there's so many layers to the problem. And the question is really, how do we kind of navigate this now? Because, what started out as maybe a hopeful idea that by empowering these communities with businesses that it would help them, it's sort of done the opposite in my view.
Okay, but I know that if you say something like this, like if this is how you remember Michelle Obama's lunch program, you were not in high school during it. Either you were older and you were out of high school and therefore not affected, or you were younger and probably just don't have quite the same memories of it. It was not kids need to eat vegetables. It was kids need to eat vegetables and can only have 2 ounces of meat in a meal and can only have 8 ounces of milk in a meal. It was essentially like school meals could only be 500 calories, and of those 500 calories, only like 10 could be from fat. All it did was make people spend more money because you had to have like 4 burgers to get a normal amount of protein. And if you were an athlete like I was, it was even worse. You want me to go to track, rugby, football, whatever practice on like 500 calories and whatever I had for breakfast at 6 a.m.? Like, this isn't even a political thing. It's just, that's not what was going on. That's not what happened.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Z, and I want to talk about how you really take care of yourself and healthy food options. So I understand, when I was a kid, it was actually cheaper to make a home-cooked meal. And now there's so many fast food restaurants, and they're so cheap that sometimes it's actually cheaper to eat one of these unhealthy meals. Well, I'm here to tell you, you have to practice what I used to call tough love, but you have to practice real love of yourself. And what you have to realize is that there are healthy alternatives. Now, I know I talk a lot about berries, but fresh berries are expensive. But the great thing about berries is that even frozen, which are a lot cheaper, they have the same nutritional value. And then there's other choices. I love pizza, but sometimes you can get pizza with a different kind of crust, cauliflower crust. You can sometimes, instead of just having a regular hamburger, you can get one of these, Impossible burgers. It actually tastes fantastic. Even if you have to go to McDonald's or some of these other restaurants, they actually do have some of the healthy choices there. Now, once again, I have kids. I know when your kids are screaming, you get off work, you pick them up, and they're hungry, and they smell one of these fast food restaurants. It's hard to say no to them, but remember, you gotta practice real love with your kids and with yourself, and try to even curb some of these unhealthy habits, and try to increase this healthy eating even 1 day a week, 2 days a week. It's easy to make incremental changes, and those small changes will actually stick. Thank you.
On why I don't eat fast food. Number 1, fast food is junk food, and junk food is bad for you. I mean, I don't even need to provide you any explanation on this reason. Junk food is 1, unhealthy, and 2, just plain nasty. Number 2, I mean, why even waste your time consuming a same old McDonald's burger when you can have some real valuable nutrients in your life? Protein bars, protein shakes, protein cookies. Believe me, guys, there are much better options out there. And number 3, After eating fast food for extended periods of time, you get sick and you throw up. Just think about the children, people. Do you really want to see children getting sick and throwing up after eating Jack in the Box? Or would you rather see them happily eating their fruits and veggies at the dinner table every night? Just think about it. So together, let's say no to fast food and say yes to protein. Push it, ooh, ooh, push it, ooh, ooh.
What does that mean, ultra processed?
There's like a spectrum of processing that a food can undergo. So if you look at like a piece of steak, that's meat that has been processed, right? You've cooked it. You've basically outsourced some degree of digestion to make the steak more palatable, easier to break down. Same goes for vegetables. When we cook vegetables, we're processing. When we're cutting things, with a knife and fork, we're processing them to some degree. Ultra processing is when, for example, you take grain flour and you just, put it through these myriad processes that make it so easily digestible that becomes so rapidly broken down and absorbed at the top of your small intestine. Ultra processing also occurs to fats. So like grain and seed oils, like canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil. And we know that one step in the production process, deodorization, actually creates a small but significant amount of trans fats in those oils. It takes very little effort for your body to assimilate. They don't require jaw vigor to chew and break down. Our bodies begin to assimilate them almost immediately. That flood of sugar.
How do you feel about people who say it doesn't matter what you eat, it just matters how much, and you should just be looking at calories?
We have data now from the NIH. There was that 2018 Kevin Hall study that found that people on ultra-processed diets, when invited to consume ultra-processed foods ad libitum, meaning to satiety, all the food that they wanted, they ended up eating a 500 calorie per day surplus. And if you stretch that out over the course of the week, 500 calories a day, that's a pound of fat gain every week. When they took those same people and they gave them minimally processed foods to consume, they ended up coming in at a calorie deficit by about 300 calories. So that's an 800 calorie swing right there, determined purely by what you're eating. So what seems to be the case is that what you eat determines, at least to some degree, to a significant degree, how much you're eating.
Basically, if you're eating unprocessed foods or less processed foods, you're less likely to overeat.
Absolutely.
You don't have to count the calories. You can just eat until you're full, and you're full faster with less processed foods.
Oh my God. Have you noticed that's why Americans are the way that we are? Look at this. Oh, it's like a pit bull, but without the muscle. We're just fat people. Because of all the processed sugar they're giving us, that ranch, it's all fucking fat. Marron, take a look at it. It's no good for us. Yeah. I eat the shit out of that shit. I fucking love my pepperoni pizza Lunchables and my cheese pizza Lunchables. I love my bagel bites and I love my toaster strudels. That's the way that life is. That's all I know. And I know that's why I look the way that I do. But that's okay. Because life sucks. Get a fucking helmet.
Believe it or not, there are parents out there right now with young children who are spreading lies and disinformation towards their own kids, their offspring, in an attempt to make them feel better about themselves with this ridiculous, absolutely abhorrent attempt at social justice politics. To their kids, they're lying to them. And what they're lying to them about is their own health, childhood obesity. Obese children are likely to stay obese into adulthood and more likely to develop non-communicable diseases like diabetes and cardiovascular diseases at a younger age, and therefore die younger. But this Instagram page, it argues that it is better for them to die younger from obesity than to bring up the fact that they're fat fucks. I know it's nice to help people and protect their feelings, but sometimes these things need to be said. Here's some lessons in how to treat a fat kid. What do you do when your tween daughter or son, I guess, calls herself or himself fat? Guidelines for parents with kids who are in larger bodies. Kids in larger bodies. Are you the full fucking quid, dickhead? This didn't happen overnight. You didn't wake up and go, oh, fuck me, bro, I'm in a larger body now. Oh, well, everyone needs to fucking accept me. No, it happened over a period of time, and you started to develop stretch marks around your belly button because you're smashing 15 LCM bars a day, you fat shit. According to this ridiculous Instagram page, here's lesson number 1. Don't tell them that it's baby fat. Don't say they'll grow out of it, and don't insist that they're not fat. They are beautiful. I don't know, when I was at primary school, the fat kids, I mean the real fat kids, they weren't really that beautiful. Lesson number 2. Teach them about weight stigma and fat phobia. fuck you to the moon. No one has an irrational fear of fat people. No. I mean, maybe if we're in a room or a small elevator with a really, really large person, you worry about perhaps it's going to, the cables are going to break and fall to the ground and everybody dies. Sure, that may be fat phobia, but your child doesn't need to know about fat phobia because it is not real. Bodies are a social justice issue. For fuck's sake. Bodies are your issue. Sort it out, dickhead. I tell you what parents of fat kids need to be doing, not being social justice warriors. They need to stop feeding them fucking 18 nuggets every morning for breakfast with a big old fruit juice, alright? Stop giving them Nutri-Grain and Cocoa Pops and give them a fucking salad occasionally. Lesson number 5 we're going to skip because it's find out the feelings behind the word fat. It's a word, feelings. Fuck your feelings, alright? Lose weight. Lesson number 6, help manage the teasing. Here's a good way to manage the teasing. Not be a fat kid. Change your lifestyle. Don't encourage your poor kid to smash as much food as you want and then cry at home when he gets bullied. Okay, of course he's going to get bullied. He looks different.
Oh no, I cheated. What is your response? Oh no.
Doesn't run in your family. The problem is nobody runs in your family, all right? It's called transgenerational epigenetics. What this means is the reason you're obese, the reason you have diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, cholesterol is because it's passed down by the lifestyle. So you're living in the same area, under the same stresses, eating the same food, the same diet, the same activity level as your mom that has high blood pressure, cholesterol, your grandmother that has high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, and now you're living the same lifestyle. You're eating the food your mom cooked because her mom cooked for her, and it gets passed down. Now you have high blood pressure, cholesterol. Your mom didn't have a gym membership. Your grandma didn't have a gym membership. Now you don't. So there's no activity. You're living in the same areas, again, the same stresses. You may be low on money. Stress raises cortisol levels and things like that, which allows disease to get in. So let's get active. Let's stay functional. Let's get on the front line for health and get things right. Follow me for daily tips.